Hi everyone, it's Roger here from what's on DisneyPlus.com with a weekly Q&A video. Now, these questions come from our Patreons and also our YouTube channel members. You can become a member from as little as $2 either on Patreon or on YouTube, hitting that little join button. So let's jump into the first question. I Got No Name asks, would you think Futurama will come to Disney Plus? I think Futurama would be a great fit for Disney Plus because it is a PG show. Over here in the UK, it used to air at kind of 6 o'clock after you'd finished school, and it was kind of on with The Simpsons, and it even used to be on in the mornings at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So it is very sort of family friendly. It did have a few little jokes and stuff here and there, but to me, it was a show that you could watch at any time during the day, and it was kind of in the kids zone territory. So therefore, I think it would be a much better fit than, for example, something like Family Guy or American Dad or something like that. I think the Futurama is a great idea. It's got hundreds of episodes. It is been around for a long time. I think it was a really cool show. I really enjoyed it. Love Bender. And yeah, I think it's a very high chance that they're going to do it. Whether or not they keep it on Star or Hulu, I don't know. But to me, Futurama very much fits in there. And the fact that The Simpsons is so popular on Disney Plus, I'm sure they're looking at it. And hopefully we will find out soon. But yeah, to me, Futurama on Disney Plus just seems like just a no-brainer. I Got No Name also asks, why don't they just market Star as different from Hulu and just tell people the difference? So the thing is with Star and Hulu is ultimately there are going to be some major differences. There's not going to be the live streaming aspect. There's also not going to be any third-party content, for example, stuff from NBC. Now the big thing for here is Star is going to be launching internationally. We don't yet know too much more about it. Sometimes it's going to be integrated with Disney Plus, and it might even be its own thing. We'll find out more at the Investors Day in December. But the idea of sort of you saying, well, it's a bit like Hulu, you've got to remember, outside of the US, nobody knows what Hulu is. So there's no point in talking about Hulu, no point bringing up that name, because it doesn't mean anything internationally. Star is huge in Asia, and ultimately it's just a brand that they can expand, and that's the kind of the big thing really. As regards to the US, there's no need to have the two running simultaneously. And there's also another big issue with Hulu, with that Comcast owns 33%. So if they launched it internationally and they grew the numbers and it got bigger, they'd actually have to just give Comcast more money when they have to buy out that 33% in possibly a few years' time. So yeah, from that point of view, the key point there is nobody really outside of the US knows what Hulu is. So therefore that offers no value, and that's why Disney have probably decided that the Hulu brand isn't really worth expanding internationally. I mean, that's just the core bit really with Hulu. Joseph asked on Patreon, could Premier Access come back following the news that the unions want Black Widow on streaming, as he's not excited about any movies this year because of how the UK is dealing with the virus? What do you think, and do you think they could put the MCU movies out, such as Eternals or Shang-Chi, on premium access or scrap the cinema dates? For me, I think things are really going to be down to how the world is in a few months' time, whether or not once we get out of this winter and maybe when we start getting vaccines and stuff, whether or not that will encourage people to release movies, and whether or not they'll actually go back to the cinemas in big enough numbers. But it's going to be a while. It's not just going to happen overnight. It could take a while for those vaccines, for people to be able to get them all, for people to feel safe. So the whole of 2021 is going to be a bit ropey. So I do think we are going to see the time between cinema releases and normal home video releases much shorter. We're going to see that much more. Now, whether or not they do Premier Access and cinemas at the same time, who knows? The big key thing is, will the cinemas still be there by the time of all these MCU movies coming out? Because that's going to be the key thing. They've just apparently finished filming on the new Shang-Chi movie, and they've also finished Eternals a while ago. So next year they're fine with Black Widow. They're all kind of pretty much done for filming. So that gives them a chance to sort it out. I think right now it's really going to depend on how they move forward. We're going to be finding out more at the Investors Day in December how they're going to be pushing forward. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if we start seeing some kind of premium rental rather than going straight to Disney Plus. I think the idea of putting out Black Widow or the Eternals on Disney Plus, I just can't see it done. If they were going to do it, they'd have already done it with Black Widow. That would have already been done. They've pushed that one back twice because they still want cinema. Doesn't necessarily mean they can't do something different. They're going to have to work out what's happening with the cinemas. But I know they're not in the best books with them right now. But And until something starts making some money at the cinemas, studios aren't really going to be doing anything about it. For us as Disney Plus fans, obviously we want it on there. I don't have a problem with Premier Access in how it runs, but ultimately I do prefer it when things like Soul just arrive on the day that they say they will, rather than with like Mulan where you've got to pay for it. And I think that's where a lot of people go. It's where like it brought in enough money. And I think you're going to start seeing that mixed tier. I think we're going to see things very much different, maybe more along the line of what Universal have done with releasing things separately and then a couple of weeks later releasing it. I think we'll probably see something very similar from Disney, because ultimately it's going to take years to get over it. Or they're just going to just hold out a little bit more longer and see if they can get back to how it used to be. But I think things are just going to speed up. I wouldn't be at all surprised if home video releases are going to be very much more in line with Disney Plus. But yeah, I can't see them kind of moving everything over to Disney Plus yet. There's still a lot of money to be made with these big movies. But a lot of those lower tier ones, yeah, they're just going to be going straight over. But nevertheless, let me know in the comments below what you think of all of this week's questions. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember to go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Remember, you can become a Patreon or a YouTube member from as little as $2 a month. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.